We all know about Batman's glory as one of the fiercest protectors of Gotham City. But how did Batman become the great hero we all love today? In this video, we'll review Batman's darkest secrets from his past. Besides the strength and power of the famous protector of Gotham City, what do you actually know of his past? Does he have some skeletons in his closet? We all know Batman wasn't always Batman, so if we need to dive into the dark secrets of his past, we'll have to take a trip back to when it all began. Back to the reason why Batman actually became, Batman.
I'm Batman.
The most famous aspect of Batman's story starts with his parents' murder. The murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne ignited a ripple of chain events that gave birth to Batman. When young Bruce Wayne witnessed the cold-blooded murder of his parents, it was almost as if a switch was flipped. This switch was a critical factor fueling Batman's emotions and relentless pursuits of justice. It's actually safe to say that Batman was reborn the day he lost his parents as a completely new being, and the new boy who took his place focused solely on fighting crimes. It was almost as if he was obsessed with bringing justice to a highly corrupted Gotham. But deep down, we all know justice wasn't all Batman was after. The truth is that just like every one of us, Batman was ready to rain hell when he found the person who had left him an orphan. While his mantra was focused on bringing justice to Gotham, we can't help but ask which type of justice he was aiming for at the time. Justice by his own hands, or justice from the legal powers? You need to understand that young Bruce was so filled with vengeance and the need to bring down whosoever had a hand in the murder of his parents. Due to this, we'll see young Bruce Wayne transform into Gotham's hero, Batman. But wait a minute, before his parents' death, little Bruce didn't have the strength or the skill to fight crime, talk more of becoming a hero. So what gives? Well, diving further from Batman's glossy future and into his past, we'll find that the notorious Ra's al Ghul trained him. The famous villain had a hand not just in training Batman to be who we know today, but also initiated him into the League of Shadows to live and train with them in their ways of combat and stealth. While there's a fine line between heroism and vigilantism, Ra's actively influences a young Wayne to become Gotham City's Dark Knight. The supervillain had insane plans in store for a young Batman. He hoped that the teenage Bruce would take his mantle as the next Demon's Head after having the boy kill him. Under Ra's al Ghul's tutelage, Batman honed his combat skills and learned to harness his fear. This training period remains a little explored aspect of Batman's history, one that has left an indelible mark on his tactics and mindset. While, according to the comic, Bruce puts a permanent end to Ra's al Ghul. But it still begs the question of what having a villain like Ra's al Ghul be his trainer and how it might have affected both Batman's thinking and how he views things generally. The Robins are also an essential part of Batman's story, showing that being a hero is not easy. With Batman, we'll see most of his sidekicks get murdered along the way. I bet you didn't know that. Batman had young helpers called Robins. They help him fight crime and bring justice. There have been different Robins with their own stories. Each Robin shows something different about Batman. Batman usually trains Robins to become good heroes. They learn to fight, solve problems, and use gadgets. But being a hero is hard. Each Robin is like Batman's family. The first Robin, Dick Grayson, was like a son to Batman. He was brave and had fun fighting crime. The second Robin, Jason Todd, had a more challenging time. He was brutally beaten by the Joker and left to die in an explosion. The third Robin, Tim Drake, was brilliant and good at solving puzzles. The fourth Robin, Stephanie Brown, was a girl who wanted to prove herself. And on we go. Don't get me wrong, being a Robin has good and bad parts. The excellent part is helping people and learning from Batman. The bad part is getting hurt while trying to protect people. While Batman tries his best to protect his Robins as much as he can, there's no denying the number he keeps losing to bad guys. From Batman's parents to even his butler, most of his life is out there for everyone to see. But have you ever thought of his love interest? Someone he truly cared for and was willing to walk the halls of hell for. Talia al Ghul is an entirely mysterious character in Batman's world. Batman's relationship with Talia is even more complex since she's the daughter of a powerful villain we all know, Ra's al Ghul. But there's no denying the fact that the way Batman is connected to her is puzzling and interesting. They say opposites attract. A testament to this is the fact that Talia's father is one of the biggest supervillains, but this doesn't stop Batman from striking up a romantic relationship with her. Talia didn't always see eye to eye with Batman. She believed in her father's plans, which were often bad. This caused problems because Batman had different ideas about what was right, so they had a strange partnership that was sometimes confusing and hard to understand. If you've seen any Batman comic or movie, you'll find that he has a strong opinion on what's right and wrong. Talia, on the other hand, had a confusing loyalty to her villain dad's ideas. This fact made Batman and Talia's relationship often tricky. It was so hard for them to see eye to eye on several things, and they often disagreed, which created a lot of drama. Talia's relationship with Batman was filled with ups and downs. Sometimes they worked together, and sometimes they were against each other. This made their story emotionally charged and full of surprises. Their love for each other was evident, but their different beliefs often got in the way. Despite their differences and challenges, Talia and Batman's relationship was a significant part of Batman's story and past. It showcased the complexities of love, trust, and morality. Their story becomes even more complex when they have their son, Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne is another critical, less talked about aspect of Batman's life. Personally, I wonder what it would have been like to be born from two people with completely different views on what was right. There's no denying that it must have been exceptionally tough for young Damian when growing up because of his parents' complicated relationship and their opposing beliefs. While we know most of the villains Batman fights, there's one that quickly comes to mind: Joker. Deep within the shadows of Gotham City, a sinister figure known as the Joker lurks, a reflection of the very darkness in Batman's heart. The relationship between Joker and Batman unveils itself as one of the most enigmatic secrets hidden within Batman's past. This secret reveals the complex web of their intertwined destinies. The Joker, with his maniacal laughter and painted grin, stands as the embodiment of chaos itself. Yet beyond his clownish appearance lies an evil genius, one that acts as a distorted mirror of Batman's brilliance. The connection between the Caped Crusader and the Clown Prince of Crime goes beyond the traditional bounds of hero and villain, forging an almost symbiotic relationship that reveals much about the complexities of the human psyche. Their dance of antagonism almost borders on the precipice of obsession. Batman's relentless pursuit of justice is mirrored by the Joker's insatiable appetite for anarchy. As Batman strives to uphold the order and morality of Gotham, the Joker ceaselessly seeks to dismantle and destroy it. This paradoxical relationship raises a haunting question. Could Batman himself, in a moment of vulnerability, descend into the abyss of madness that the Joker embodies? The roots of this twisted connection can be traced back to the same night of tragedy that birthed Batman. The murder of Bruce Wayne's parents in a dark alley left an indelible mark on his soul, plunging him into a lifelong quest for justice. However, the Joker's origin story is equally tragic, albeit with a twisted sense of irony. A failed comedian turned criminal, he was disfigured in a chemical accident, his sanity shattered and replaced with an unhinged psyche. This shared origin and trauma and despair hints at the underlying kinship between Batman and the Joker, as though they are two sides of the same coin. The Joker's actions carry an eerie resonance with Batman's deepest fears. His penchant for causing chaos and manipulating the minds of Gotham's citizens mirrors Batman's own mastery of fear as a weapon. The Joker's ability to exploit vulnerabilities and expose the cracks in society's facade forces Batman to confront his insecurities and the darker facets of his psyche. The very existence of the Joker poses a haunting question. Could Batman's dedication to justice, forged from his personal tragedy, potentially evolve into an obsession just as destructive as the Joker's madness? Gotham City bears the scars of their relentless conflict. The Joker's schemes have led to cataclysmic events that test Batman's limits, pushing him to the brink of his moral boundaries. The chaos unleashed by the Joker often leads to devastating consequences for the innocent citizens of Gotham. This begs the question of Batman's culpability, whether his unwavering pursuit of the Joker indirectly contributes to the villain's destructive reign. In this way, the Joker becomes not only a reflection of Batman's darkness, but also a haunting reminder of the fine line between heroism and complicity. You'll find that the relationship between Batman and the Joker is charged with a unique psychological tension. Batman's strong belief in justice clashes with the Joker's nihilistic worldview. Each encounter forces Batman to confront his own code of ethics and question the validity of his methods. The Joker, with his unpredictability and penchant for mind games, challenges Batman's resolve and presents him with moral dilemmas that shake the foundations of his identity. As Gotham's protector, Batman stands as a beacon of hope and a symbol of resilience against the city's rampant corruption. However, his connection to the Joker exposes a vulnerability that strikes at the core of his humanity. The Joker's madness threatens to unravel Batman's carefully constructed facade, revealing the darkness that he battles to contain. In this way, the Joker becomes not merely a villain, but a reflection of Batman's internal struggles, embodying the chaos that simmers beneath his stoic exterior. In the end, the Joker stands as a mirror that reflects the deepest recesses of Batman's soul. Their twisted relationship encapsulates the duality of human nature, the eternal battle between light and darkness, order and chaos. The Joker's presence is a constant reminder of the potential for corruption that lurks within even the most steadfast heroes. As Batman continues to grapple with the darkness that he fights against, the enigmatic dance between him and the Joker remains a chilling testament to the intricacies of their shared past and uncertain future. The legacy of pain stands as a haunting reminder of the profound impact he has had on the lives of those around him. One perfect example of this legacy is the tragic tale of Two-Face, also known as Harvey Dent. In the early days of Batman's career, Harvey Dent was a beacon of hope for Gotham City. As the district attorney, he was dedicated to upholding justice and eradicating the corruption that had taken hold of the city. His partnership with Batman, as well as his commitment to the law, earned him the admiration of both citizens and colleagues alike. Dent's belief in the power of the legal system to bring about positive change made him an ally that Gotham desperately needed. However, tragedy struck in a cruel twist of fate. During a confrontation with the criminal underworld, Harvey Dent's face was horrifically scarred by acid, forever altering his appearance and shattering his sense of identity. The physical pain he endured was only a fraction of the following agony. Dent's once unshakable faith in justice was replaced by a deep-seated bitterness, a burning desire for retribution against those he deemed responsible for his disfigurement. This transformation marked the birth of Two-Face, a villain whose dual nature reflects the inner turmoil that plagues him. With a flip of his signature coin, Two-Face makes decisions based on chance, blurring the line between right and wrong and a distorted echo of the justice system he once upheld. The legacy of pain that Batman unwittingly contributed to is evident in Two-Face's fractured psyche, a stark reminder of the darkness that can consume even the noblest intentions. Furthermore, the legacy of pain extends beyond Two-Face to encompass the broader spectrum of characters affected by Batman's presence. The collateral damage of his battles against supervillains and criminal organizations has left countless innocent lives shattered. Gotham City bears the scars of his endless struggle, with its skyline punctuated by the remnants of battles fought in the name of justice. The very streets Batman vows to protect are often the backdrop for tragedy and chaos, a stark reminder of the unending cycle of pain that he perpetuates. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to click on the like and subscribe button below. See you in the next one. Story, though, were his emotional and physical inner conflicts prior to Jason Todd's demise. Miller and Azzarello, credited as the creators, show us Bruce Wayne struggling to accept that he can't be Batman forever, no pun intended. The rate of his physical decline far outpaces Jason Todd's ascension towards becoming the next Dark Knight. In the meantime, Gotham's ugly criminal underbelly isn't waiting for them to steady the ship. The universe in which The Dark Knight Returns takes place is more abrasive than the traditional DCU. That being said, you can't help but like the interpretation of Jason Todd, a character already known for being the most reckless to take up Robin's mantle. Miller and Azzarello dialed the intensity up a notch with Jason, having him throw a batarang directly into a gunman's arm rather than simply knocking the weapon out of his hand. Bruce pointed out that his biggest flaw is that he lacks compassion, and the writers do an excellent job depicting this. There's also the scene where Jason slams a van door closed right onto a thug's head, resulting in a large pool of blood at the Boy Wonder's feet. While they don't outright say that the thug is dead, let's face it, he's dead. Also, some of the most prevalent members of Batman's rogues gallery are on full display in this book, as we get some awesome sequences with Killer Croc and Poison Ivy. Of course, everyone's favorite clown Prince of Crime is included. The typically manic and wild Joker is his usual self when he's being dragged to his cell in Arkham Asylum. Still, he takes on a much calmer demeanor throughout the rest of the story, inciting chaos around him with his mere presence alone. And it's especially eerily disturbing to see the serene look on his face while simultaneously watching Jason Todd get beaten to death in the final pages of this book. But let's backtrack to 1986, when Frank Miller and Klaus Janson crafted one of the most influential comic books of all time, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. In the early pages of The Dark Knight Returns, the reader is introduced to a retired Bruce Wayne in his 50s, give or take a few years. The hero has been out of the fray for a decade, with the events surrounding his decision to hang up the cowl mostly left ambiguous. But then, in 2016, Miller returned to the world with the one-shot prequel Dark Knight Returns: The Last Crusade. So here are some ways the prequel connects to and fleshes out the original. In the prequel, Batman shows the physical toll that all his years of crime fighting have taken, and he is unable, or at least unwilling, to call it quits. His second protege and current Robin, Jason Todd, is not yet ready to take over the mantle of Batman. While Jason easily demonstrates the skill and aptitude required to operate independently, his increasing ruthlessness and cruelty give Bruce pause. And given the eventual fate of Dick Grayson, the former Robin in The Dark Knight Strikes Again, it's understandable Bruce is unwilling to give up control. The Last Crusade calls into question the relationship between Batman and Robin on several occasions, with the media pointing out the off-sided child endangerment concerns and discussing the psychological ramifications of using a child as a sidekick. Batman has raised Robin to be a soldier, but at what cost? Bruce asks himself this question as he weighs the possibility of relinquishing his cowl and is forced to consider that there may be a better way. And the true tragedy of The Last Crusade lies in this glimmer of hope and optimism. After all, the reader knows exactly what becomes of Jason Todd. His death is inevitable and is looming ever closer with each panel. In the final pages of the comic, Jason, unbeknownst to Bruce, attempts to take down the recently escaped Joker by himself, only to be caught and beaten by what appears to be the Joker's henchman. This moment is even more tragic by the juxtaposition of Bruce's conversation with Alfred. In it, he discusses the possibility of hanging up his cape, becoming a retired warrior philosopher, and teaching Jason how to be a better man. That statement has a lot of promise and hope because Bruce truly believes he can redirect Jason's energy. And the inevitable happens in that instance of light in what had so far traditionally been a story characterized by darkness. And just as soon as it appears, this self-same light is extinguished. Bruce receives the sad news that he has invariably lost another Robin, and he is now incapacitated without an heir to take up his one-person war on crime. Batman has a long list of foes, and some of the most infamous villains have made Gotham City their playground. Let's take a closer look at some of Batman's most iconic adversaries. These Batman villains add depth and complexity to the Dark Knight's world, each bringing their unique brand of evil to Gotham City. And with no further ado, here's our list of ranked Batman villains. Please don't hesitate to give us a shout if you think we got the order right or otherwise. So here goes. Number 1. The Joker, Batman's arch-nemesis. The Joker stands as Batman's ultimate adversary. He was initially portrayed as a criminal mastermind with a wicked sense of humor. Originally intended for a one-time appearance, the Joker's instant popularity ensured his continued presence in the Batman universe, where he frequently clashed with the Dark Knight and his youthful ally Robin, the Boy Wonder. However, the character went into a temporary hiatus and was reintroduced in the 1970s as a more formidable menace and one of Gotham City's most infamous criminals. In recent times, the Joker has adopted the persona of pure malevolence, deriving pleasure from tormenting Batman and attempting to lure him into villainy. Undoubtedly, the Joker is widely regarded as Batman's arch-nemesis, responsible for numerous tragedies in the hero's life, including Barbara Gordon's paralysis and the death of Jason Todd, the second Robin. Over the years, his character has evolved, most commonly portrayed as a psychopathic criminal who commits crimes purely for his own amusement. The Joker is also recognized as one of DC Comics' most iconic characters, having clashed with other heroes like Superman and Wonder Woman. His presence in popular culture is undeniable, thanks to his portrayals in various media related to Batman and other DC properties. In his early dozen or so appearances, beginning with Batman #1 in 1940, the Joker was portrayed as a straightforward spree killer and mass murderer, sporting a peculiar look inspired by the traditional Joker symbol found on playing cards. Number 2. Two-Face, the tragic district attorney. Two-Face, known as Harvey Dent in his former life, is a criminal torn between contrasting good and evil facets of his personality. Initially Gotham City's amiable and upstanding district attorney, Harvey Dent was a close ally and friend of Batman, collaborating with the vigilante to cleanse the city of crime. Tragically, a gruesome facial disfigurement during a trial fractured Dent's sanity, transforming him into one of Gotham's most notorious villains. Obsessed with duality, fate, chance, and occasionally the number 2, Two-Face stands out for his moral code, often making decisions by flipping a scarred double-headed coin. Modern depictions reveal him as a sufferer of dissociative identity disorder, with his Harvey Dent side exhibiting benevolent traits, while Two-Face acts out of self-interest. Over time, numerous attempts have been made to cure Harvey and restore him to a normal life, but few have succeeded. Initially featured in a trilogy of comic stories, he quickly became a recurring antagonist during the golden age of comics. Nowadays, he consistently ranks among Batman's most popular foes and is a cornerstone of his rogues gallery. Harvey Dent's upbringing was marked by adversity, shaped by an abusive father. Despite his own suppressed mental illnesses, including bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, he became a district attorney at the young age of 26. He was easily accepted by the public and deeply committed to maintaining law and order as he forged a unique bond with Batman. During his tenure as district attorney, Gotham's most formidable criminal menace was Carmine the Roman Falcone. Dent, Batman, and Commissioner Gordon formed an alliance to bring Falcone down within the confines of the law, regardless of the cost. Tragically, their collaboration ended in calamity when Sal Bosmeroni, convinced that Dent was responsible for his father's death, hurled acid at him during a trial, leaving the left side of Dent's face grotesquely scarred. Escaping from the hospital, Dent descended into madness. He developed an obsession with the concept of duality and opposites, giving rise to a second persona, the malevolent Two-Face, which complemented the law and order-focused Dent. As Two-Face, his criminal trademark revolved around the number 2. His fixation even extended to his attire, often consisting of 2 halves crafted from contrasting materials. He perpetually carried a double-headed coin, one side defaced, which he would constantly flip to make decisions. Two-Face's coin flips determined critical choices. The scarred side typically resulted in criminal acts, while the clean side compelled him to do the right thing, such as returning stolen loot or refraining from murder. Number 3. The Court of Owls, secret manipulators of Gotham. The Court of Owls stands as an ancient secret society that has held sway over Gotham City for centuries. This clandestine cabal wields its power through a combination of architectural manipulation and meticulously planned assassinations, enabling them to exert significant political influence throughout history. The tales of their existence are shared only through hushed whispers and a nursery rhyme bearing their enigmatic name. To carry out their clandestine agenda, they employ a formidable cadre of highly trained assassins known as Talons. The leadership of this enigmatic organization appears to be human, donning owl masks to conceal their identities. The Court of Owls took a keen interest in billionaire philanthropist Bruce Wayne's announcement of plans to revitalize and reshape Gotham City for the future. In response, they sentenced him to death, dispatching their lethal assassin, the Talon, to eliminate him during a meeting with politician Lincoln March. Their fierce battle atop Wayne Tower culminated in the Talon surviving a precipitous fall. Subsequently, Batman initiated an investigation, unearthing the Society's hidden headquarters concealed within the structures erected by the Alan Wayne Trust. In a further attempt on his life, they targeted him by detonating one of their secret bases. Bruce Wayne recollected his childhood belief that the Court of Owls was responsible for his parents' death, compelling him to conduct a personal inquiry. Eventually, he concluded that there was insufficient evidence to substantiate his suspicions. The Talons themselves constitute a specialized breed of lethal assassins bound by unwavering loyalty to the court. They lie dormant within their secluded inner sanctum until summoned into action. Proficient in the art of murder, they assume the role of the court's ruthless enforcers, ensuring the organization's interests are upheld with an iron fist whenever their services are required for an execution. Number 4. Scarecrow, Master of Fear. Dr. Jonathan Crane, famously known as the Scarecrow, stands as a prominent supervillain in Gotham City and a formidable adversary of Batman. His eerie scarecrow attire, gaunt appearance, and surname make him iconic. The Scarecrow is an excessively obsessive and mentally unhinged former professor. He is known to exploit the fears and phobias of his adversaries using hallucinogenics and psychology. His criminal activities are not motivated by wealth, but rather by a twisted form of research aimed at studying the effects of fear on humans. Later, his actions evolved to satisfy his psychopathic desires, essentially making the people of Gotham unwilling participants in his twisted experiments. In his inaugural appearance, the Scarecrow is introduced as Jonathan Crane, a psychology professor who descends into a life of crime after losing his job. As an expert in the psychology of fear, he infamously fired a gun in a classroom filled with students to illustrate a point. Rejected by his fellow professors due to his appearance and reclusive behavior, he turns to a life of crime to gain acceptance among the social elite. His modus operandi involves adopting the Scarecrow persona to intimidate and manipulate his victims. His initial costume consists of a tattered black hat, trench coat, mask, and a Tommy gun as his weapon of choice. One of his earliest crimes involved a businessman named Frank Kendrick, who was embroiled in a lawsuit with a former partner named Paul Harold. When Harold refuses to comply with Scarecrow's demands during a meeting, Scarecrow murders him, catapulting himself into the media spotlight. Bruce Wayne, who maintains ties to the university as a patron and trustee, takes on the role of Batman to investigate the case, uncovering Crane's disturbing history and forced resignation, thus confirming Batman's suspicions regarding the professor. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable, and we'll see you in the next one. While not providing any major revelations, The Last Crusade gives readers a fresh perspective into Bruce's motivations, his struggles with his Batman addiction, and his relationship with the infamous Jason Todd. The Last Crusade also ties to Batman's acceptance of Carrie Kelly and her progression from being the newest Robin to Catgirl and eventually Batwoman in The Dark Knight Returns, thus in turn making it somewhat of a necessary setup for the Dark World to come. Moreover, Miller and Azzarello's focus on Jason's state of mind recurs throughout the issue. For instance, seeing the Joker has once again been defeated by Batman and Robin, Gotham's TV talk shows sing the dynamic duo's praises. The prophetic question is then raised about the negative impact such a villain can have on a mere boy in the person of Jason. And to those familiar with the 1986 epic, this line of inquiry sort of foreshadows whatever misfortune lies in the boy wonder's future. Otherwise, contrasting the young and presumably impressionable Jason is a slowly aging Bruce, hurt and sore the morning after the Joker's capture. Despite his aches and pains, Bruce nonetheless manages to best his younger sidekick in a sparring session, reminding him of the equally painful gap between the possibility of his retirement and Jason's readiness to fill his shoes. The pair's subsequent apprehending of the Joker's goons and Robin's excessively violent methods show Batman's concern regarding Jason's darker side. The writers further stress Jason's extreme tendencies throughout the issue. When one of Gotham's elite is seen exhibiting uncharacteristically threatening behavior, for example, Robin diffuses the situation by inflicting deliberate injury on the perpetrator rather than simply disarming him. After another particularly violent attack, Jason is shown hiding his smile at the damage his target sustains. Batman and Robin eventually track the cause of the socialite's afflictions to the machinations of Poison Ivy, marking her first appearance in Miller's Dark Knight continuity. And Ivy isn't the only one of Batman's rogues to debut in the Dark Knight's darker world. While tracking her, clues lead Batman to a nearly fatal encounter with none other than an especially brutal version of Killer Croc. Introducing these villains doesn't mean that the Joker's role in the story is finished, though, as his mind games with his fellow inmates eventually coerce them to overpower the Arkham guards, allowing his escape. The fight between Ivy and Croc is Batman and Robin's final battle as a team. With Gotham's richest men in Ivy's thrall, she does what any supervillain is known to do and turns the hapless captives loose upon the pair. Jason's resulting actions are far from heroic, cutting loose against these innocent victims and cementing Batman's conviction that Jason is simply not emotionally stable enough to be a superhero, much less take up the mantle of the Bat. The pair take down Ivy and Croc, but the cost of the victory is their now broken relationship. With Bruce's faith in him destroyed, Jason's mindfulness of Bruce's demands is also lost. When the two learn of the Joker's escape, and Bruce refuses to involve Jason in going after him, a shattered but rebellious Jason decides to go after the villain alone and faces the horrible consequences. The villain's henchmen brutally beat Jason, as Miller and Azzarello's script leaves some gruesome details to readers' imaginations. Then the prequel morphs into the sequel in reverse, and we find that Bruce Wayne has since retired from the Batman mantle after the death of the second Robin, Jason Todd. 10 years have passed, during which Gotham City is overwhelmed by crime and new gangs, and so Bruce is compelled to reassume the mantle of Batman. He subsequently encounters some gang members of the Mutant Clan in the alley where his parents were murdered. It just so happens that Batman is temporarily assisted in fighting off these alley rats by a new soon-to-be Robin, the young girl from earlier named Carrie Kelly. But first we must say by way of a disclaimer that there was in fact a 4-part series that somewhat bridged the gap between the Last Crusade prequel from 2016 and the original DKR installment from 1986. This so-called series was titled A Death in the Family, released in 1988, and it has an interesting twist as to how Jason Todd actually died. In essence, Jason Todd didn't die from being clobbered by Joker's henchmen. However, his supposed death was even more epic. Suffice it to say, this separate story is full of controversy for a few reasons. At the conclusion of its run, the creators of Batman comics and the readers did a kind of test. They let the readers decide what happens to Robin in the end, and so the readers chose for Robin to die. At the time, it was a big deal, because Robin was an important character in the DC comics. The voting advert essentially said that Robin will die because the Joker wants revenge, but the readers could stop it. There were 2 numbers, one where Robin lives because the Joker fails, and another where Robin dies because the Joker succeeds. People could vote by calling these numbers. On their part, the DC Comics stables already had 2 versions of the next comic issue ready, depending on the votes. Apparently, those who wanted Robin dead won the day. In one instance, it seemed like one person must have voted more than 100 times to make Robin die. Whatever the case, the Death in the Family story goes like this. Things got really rough for Jason Todd and Batman because Jason took huge risks fighting criminals, almost like he didn't care if he got hurt. Because of this, Batman thought it would be best if Jason stopped being Robin for a while to heal from his parents' death. Jason got really mad about this and left without so much as acknowledging the gesture. While walking around his old neighborhood, Jason met a friend of his parents, Mrs. Walker. She gave him a box with his dad's old stuff, like papers and pictures. Jason found his birth certificate and was shocked to see that his mom's name had been crossed out. It was a little wet because of a roof problem in Mrs. Walker's place. His birth mother's initials were in fact S and not C, as he had been made to believe all his life. He had to find his biological mom, so he checked his dad's old address book and found 3 women with names starting with S. He used the Bat computer to find them, but they were in faraway places like the Middle East and Africa, so Jason left home to find them. At the same time, the Joker escaped from the Arkham Asylum. He got his hands on a dangerous weapon and wanted to sell it to terrorists. Batman tracked him to Lebanon and stumbled into Jason by chance. Together they stopped the terrorists from using a nuclear missile to destroy Tel Aviv. Jason subsequently found one of his leads named Charmin Rosen, but she said she didn't give birth in Gotham. Another woman they suspected to be Jason's mom was a person named Lady Shiva. They found her at a place where bad people were trained. Batman and Robin fought her, and with Robin's help, they managed to beat her. But she admitted that she wasn't Jason's mom. Then they headed to Ethiopia next, and met up with Sheila Haywood. She turned out to be Jason's real mom, and they had an emotional meeting. But there was something they didn't know. Sheila had done bad things in Gotham, and was being blackmailed by the Joker. Sheila's secret was that she stole money from the organization she worked for. On his part, the Joker wanted to sell medical supplies infused with dangerous gas on the black market. So for starters, Sheila gave up her own son, Jason, who was Robin, over to the Joker. The Joker then beat up Jason badly and left him and Sheila in an industrial complex with a bomb. They tried to escape, but the bomb exploded, and they died. So there you go. Back in Gotham, Jason and Sheila were buried by none other than Batman or Bruce in any case. Only a few people came to their funeral, like Alfred the butler, Commissioner James Gordon, and his daughter Barbara. Barbara had also been hurt by the Joker before. Batman felt very guilty about Jason's death and decided to keep fighting alone. He didn't want to involve his old Robin partner Dick Grayson, even when Alfred suggested it. We can now get to the original DKR story proper, and the life Batman hoped to live after all that trouble. Remember we mentioned that Batman came out of retirement after such a long spell. Also, you might recall that the reason he retired in the first place had a lot to do with Jason's death. And so here's what he got up to from then. Once Batman got on the vigilante beat again, he immediately had to face challenges from old enemies like Two-Face. Also, Commissioner Gordon had to retire because he was old, and someone named Ellen Yindel took his place. We also mentioned earlier that Batman was caught up in an alley fight with some members of the mutant gang, but Carey helped him. Batman healed quickly and ultimately let Carey become the new Robin. Some of the so-called mutants subsequently joined Batman and called themselves the Sons of Batman, while others split up. And all that time, the Joker had been left for catatonic at Arkham, but then he woke up. He pretended to be normal and convinced the asylum to let him go. Upon his release, he went on a TV show to get Batman's attention, but not before hurting a few people. Batman chased him with Carey's help, but bumped into Superman instead, in more ways than one, and so Batman suffered a heart attack. Alfred, Batman's butler, then destroyed the Batcave and Wayne Manor and died too. Carey, the new Robin, claimed Bruce's remains. At the funeral, Superman heard Batman's heartbeat, and so he winked at Carey and left. This prompted her to dig him up. It turns out Bruce Wayne faked his own death and started a new life with his newly constituted crime-fighting team, and especially a new Robin in the person of Carey. It's so sad, because it should have been Jason Todd instead. And the sad part is Bruce never got the chance to avenge Jason's death by the Joker's hand. And perhaps with his new team, he might catch the Joker next time around. Now we have come to the end of the saga. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Welcome back to Summoned by the Signal for part 2 of Batman's top villains ranked. Number 5. The Penguin, Gotham's crime lord with style. The Penguin, also known as Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot, is a kingpin who runs his own corner of Gotham City as a formidable adversary of Batman. As one of Batman's earliest and enduring foes, the Penguin is often portrayed as a criminal gentleman who crafts intricate schemes, while maintaining an innocent facade. This eccentric criminal mastermind is renowned for his passion of ornithology and his penchant for wielding technologically enhanced umbrellas. In contemporary portrayals, he manages the Iceberg Lounge, a popular nightclub that serves as a front for his illicit financial operations. A timeless icon since the golden age of comics, the Penguin has remained a constant presence in Batman's rogues gallery, frequently appearing alongside other formidable villains like the Joker and Catwoman. The Penguin endured relentless teasing during his childhood due to his short stature, obesity, and distinctive bird-like nose. These physical attributes set him apart from his affluent family, making him an outcast. The rejection he experienced ultimately drove him toward a life of villainy. This contrasted with some alternate interpretations of his origin, such as the one presented in the Batman graphic novel, Batman, Penguin Triumphant, which asserts that Oswald Cobblepot remained sane and simply employed his sharp intellect and scientific skills to create weapons for intimidation and control. The Penguin's weapon of choice is his assortment of trick umbrellas, which he employs to execute his devious plots. Various versions of his origin suggest that he was compelled to carry an umbrella since childhood, a habit instilled by his overprotective mother after his father succumbed to pneumonia following exposure to a downpour. Maintaining the guise of a refined gentleman, the Penguin favors formal attire, including a top hat, tuxedo, and spats when conducting his criminal endeavors. His moniker, the Penguin, was bestowed upon him during his youth as a taunt by his peers, mocking his unconventional appearance and affinity for birds. Despite his disdain for the nickname, the Penguin has reluctantly embraced it, thanks in large part to Batman's constant presence in his life. Number 6. Bane, the physical and mental menace. Bane, a formidable supervillain and assassin, originated as an escaped convict from a remote South American island prison, and his remarkable physical prowess results from experimental procedures involving a derivative of the drug known as Venom. Notably, he succeeded in fracturing Batman's spine, leading Bruce Wayne to temporarily relinquish his Batman persona for recovery. This incident happened during the Nightfall storyline. Originally, Bane grew up within the confines of Pena Duro prison on the corrupt island nation of Santa Prisca. In fact, he was born there since his father was also serving a life sentence, and it is within these walls that he acquires superhuman strength through a forced venom experiment. Although his dependence on venom is a substantial vulnerability, Bane stands out as one of Batman's most cunning and physically imposing adversaries. While primarily cast as a villain, Bane's character possesses complexity, and he has actively sought to dismantle drug lords. Surprisingly, he has at times received financial support and direct aid from Batman, despite their adversarial history. Bane was in fact born in prison and condemned to serve a life sentence alongside his father. So Bane endures a harsh upbringing up to his early adulthood within the walls of the notorious prison. Despite his incarceration, he harnesses his natural talents, avidly devouring books, sculpting his physique in the prison gym, and mastering combat through the harsh prison environment. Astonishingly, he manages to acquire knowledge from various mentors during his imprisonment, spanning from hardened inmates to an elderly Jesuit priest who imparts a classical education. Regrettably, upon his return to Santa Prisca, Bane murders the priest. His first act of violence occurs at the tender age of 8, when he fatally stabs a criminal seeking to exploit him for information about the prison. Throughout his prison years, Bane keeps a companion close, a teddy bear named Osito, which means little bear in Spanish, and whom he regards as his sole friend. Osito harbors a concealed knife in its back, which Bane employs against anyone who threatens him. Bane eventually rises to prominence as the de facto leader of the Pena Duro prison. His ascendancy captures the attention of the prison's overseers, who eventually subject him to experimentation with the enigmatic venom drug, a substance that had proven fatal to all prior test subjects. Initially, it nearly claims his life, but he endures and discovers that venom amplifies his physical strength. However, he must administer it every 12 hours through a system of cables directly into his brain to avoid debilitating side effects. Number 7. The Riddler, the puzzling madman. The Riddler, a recurring adversary of Batman, centers his criminal persona around riddles, puzzles, and games. He is also known as Edward E. Nigma, or Nashton. His criminal endeavors revolve around these intellectual challenges, and he delights in leaving cryptic clues for Batman and the police to decipher, hinting at his nefarious schemes. While he may not possess the same physical prowess as some of Batman's other foes, the Riddler is widely recognized as one of the Caped Crusader's most intellectually challenging adversaries. He has even manipulated others into participating in his intricate plots and has clashed with other DC superheroes such as Green Arrow and The Flash. Additionally, he has been a prominent member of various supervillain teams, including the Legion of Doom and the Injustice League. Whatever be the case, his consistent presence in various forms of media has solidified his status as a core member of Batman's rogues gallery and one of his most iconic adversaries. Edward Nygma's fascination with puzzles dates back to his childhood, where he gradually integrated them into his criminal activities. His origin story also hints at a troubled upbringing, suggesting that his father subjected him to physical abuse, leaving him with a compulsion to reveal the truth, often through riddles. This upbringing also fueled his desire to prove his intellectual superiority by outwitting those around him. The Riddler's criminal methodology is deeply ingrained in his persona, making it nearly impossible for him to deviate from it. When he gains the upper hand over his adversaries, he cannot simply eliminate them. Instead, he constructs elaborate death traps, challenging the hero to solve intricate puzzles for their survival. Unlike many of Batman's themed adversaries, the Riddler's compulsion is remarkably flexible, allowing him to commit a wide range of crimes as long as he can describe them in riddles or puzzles. On occasion, he can be seen driving a vehicle known as the Riddler Mobile, a green car featuring a license plate adorned with question marks, reminiscent of the Batmobile. Additionally, he often carries a trick question mark-shaped cane, further exemplifying his devotion to his puzzling persona. Number 8. Harley Quinn, the bubbly killer. Harley Quinn emerges a lot more as a vibrant supervillain or anti-hero who frequently clashes with Batman and is primarily recognized as the Joker's girlfriend and accomplice, although she has also carved out a successful solo career. Born as Harleen Quinzel, her journey into the criminal world began at Arkham Asylum, where she met the Joker and was his consulting psychiatrist. Over time, she fell deeply in love with him, ultimately adopting her own costume identity, cleverly derived from the word Harlequin, to aid him in escaping and perpetuating further chaos. Her relationship with the Joker is passionate, yet continuously tumultuous with her closest friend, Poison Ivy, persistently encouraging her to sever ties with him once and for all. Nevertheless, Harley's profound affection for the Joker repeatedly draws her back into his orbit, even as the Joker himself demonstrates an undeniable need for her, albeit reluctantly. In moments when she is not entangled with the Joker, Harley frequently operates independently in Gotham City and occasionally collaborates with her other companions. Her unique abilities stem from chemical experimentation, endowing her with heightened strength, agility, and durability. She has been affiliated with various villainous groups, in the same way she was featured in the Suicide Squad movie. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable, and we'll see you in the next one.
Batman, the Master of the Night, and Iron Man, a genius in a high-tech suit. Two heroes, each powerful in their own way. One uses his cunning and strength to defeat enemies, while the other relies on intelligence and cutting-edge technology. They're from different worlds, but today, they face each other in our epic comparison. What makes them tick? Who would win in a head-to-head battle? We're about to dig into the secrets, strengths, and weaknesses of Batman and Iron Man. Stay tuned.
Do you bleed?
In the dark alleys of Gotham City, a young boy named Bruce Wayne experienced a tragedy that would forever alter the course of his life. Witnessing the brutal murder of his parents ignited a burning desire within him, a desire to protect the innocent and fight crime. And so, a hero was born, Batman, the Dark Knight of Gotham. With no superpowers, Batman relies on his wits, strength, and skill. His mind is his greatest asset, a brilliant labyrinth of strategies and tactics. Like a master chess player, he anticipates his opponent's moves and always steps ahead. With unparalleled detective skills, he unravels the most complex mysteries that plague his city, bringing justice to those who elude the law. Batman is a silent predator in the shadows, an expert in hand-to-hand combat and stealth. His foes never see him coming. He moves like a ghost, blending into the darkness. He strikes with precision, unleashing the fury of justice upon criminals with the finesse of a ballet dancer. But it's not just brute force that defines Batman. His mind is a vast repository of knowledge in criminology and forensic sciences. With a keen intellect, he analyzes evidence, deciphers patterns, and deduces the identity of criminals. No puzzle is too perplexing for the Caped Crusader to solve. Despite his lack of superhuman abilities, Batman's physical conditioning is extraordinary. He has honed his body to perfection, pushing himself beyond human limits. His unmatched agility enables him to traverse the cityscape like a nimble acrobat. Moving over to Tony Stark, the genius inventor behind Iron Man, his life took a dramatic turn when he found himself held captive and forced to confront the consequences of his creations. While imprisoned, Tony realized the gravity of his inventions falling into the wrong hands. Determined to make amends, he engineered an advanced suit of armor that would become his alter ego, Iron Man. With technology at his disposal, he emerged as a force to be reckoned with, safeguarding the world from imminent threats.
Where'd that come from?
It's nanotech. You like it?
Iron Man's arsenal was a testament to his technological superiority. His suit, equipped with repulsor beams, could unleash devastating energy blasts, making him a formidable combatant. But it didn't stop there. Iron Man possessed flight capabilities, soaring through the skies with grace and speed, covering vast distances in the blink of an eye. His AI systems set him apart, be it the witty Jarvis or the reliable Friday. They provided real-time analysis and problem-solving assistance, acting as his trusty companions. With their support, Iron Man tackled even the most complex challenges, outwitting adversaries with tactical brilliance. As a billionaire industrialist, Tony Stark's extensive resources further enhanced his superhero persona. He could access mighty research, develop new technologies, and fund ambitious projects to protect the world from emerging threats. So, in a world where technology and heroism intertwined, Iron Man became a symbol of innovation and bravery. He faced not only external threats, but also his internal demons, emerging stronger with every battle. Tony Stark's legacy transcended the metal suit he donned, resonating with people worldwide as a beacon of hope. But considering the two and how they stand off against each other, in one corner we have the enigmatic Dark Knight, Batman. Armed with unmatched detective skills, combat prowess, and an array of high-tech gadgets. In the other corner stands the ingenious billionaire industrialist, Iron Man, with his technologically advanced armor and formidable resources. Batman's strengths lie in his cunning mind, a master strategist and tactician. His hand-to-hand combat and stealth abilities make him a force to be reckoned with on the streets of Gotham. With a wealth of knowledge in criminology and forensics, he can unravel mysteries others can only dream of solving. His exceptional physical conditioning and agility allow him to gracefully and precisely move through the shadows. However, Batman's lack of superpowers leaves him vulnerable in confrontations. His emotional scars from his parents' loss can cloud his judgment, affecting his decision-making in critical moments. While his gadgets are cutting edge, they can't match the sheer technological superiority of Iron Man's suit. On the other hand, Iron Man's greatest strength lies in his technological prowess. The advanced armor grants him superior flight and long-range capabilities, making him a formidable opponent in aerial combat. With AI assistance from Jarvis or Friday, he can analyze situations in real time and devise quick solutions to complex problems. His vast wealth and resources give him unparalleled access to cutting-edge technology. However, Iron Man's dependence on his suit for combat effectiveness makes him vulnerable without it. While powering the suit, the arc reactor in his chest poses health concerns. His enemies know this weakness and exploit it whenever possible. His reliance on technology also makes him susceptible to hacking and tech malfunctions. Batman's approach to combat is grounded in strategy and stealth. He studies and exploits his opponent's weaknesses using his diverse skill set and gadgets. His willingness to get up close and personal ensures he can neutralize threats effectively. Iron Man, on the other hand, takes a more versatile approach. His aerial advantage allows him to engage enemies from a distance, utilizing his repulsor beams and advanced weaponry. His suit's adaptability allows him to adjust to various combat scenarios quickly. Batman's drive to protect the innocent stems from the emotional trauma of losing his parents. This psychological burden can make him susceptible to manipulation, but also fuels his determination to bring justice to Gotham. Similarly, Iron Man's emotional vulnerabilities lie in his sense of responsibility for the consequences of his inventions. He faces constant internal struggle to ensure his technology isn't misused. When it comes to navigating in the shadows, Batman has a clear advantage. His years of training and familiarity with Gotham's alleyways give him unmatched stealth abilities. In contrast, Iron Man's aerial advantage may seem impressive, but it might prove challenging to utilize in this confined urban environment. Batman's strategic thinking and ability to adapt quickly to the ever-changing circumstances of the battle give him an edge. Iron Man initially holds the upper hand in terms of advanced gadgets and technology. His powerful suit and weaponry provide formidable offensive capabilities. Batman's utility belt, however, is no slouch either. It is filled with various surprises and gadgets that he can use creatively to level the playing field. As the fight progresses, Batman's resourcefulness could tip the scales in his favor, turning seemingly hopeless situations into tactical opportunities. Batman's expertise in psychology and manipulation could play a crucial role in a cerebral battle. As a master detective, he could exploit Iron Man's emotional vulnerabilities, particularly those stemming from Tony Stark's internal struggles and personal demons. By targeting Stark's doubts and insecurities, Batman might gain a psychological advantage, causing Iron Man to hesitate or second-guess his actions during the confrontation. And finally, considering their net worth, indeed these heroes boast immense fortunes, and while fictional, fans and Forbes have attempted to gauge their net worth. Bruce Wayne's assets, stemming from Wayne Enterprises and inheritance, stand at a staggering $9.2 billion. Yet Tony Stark outshines him with an even more colossal $12.4 billion, courtesy of Stark Industries. It's a flawless victory for Iron Man in the financial arena. As the shadows stretch over the city, Batman and Iron Man continue their quest for justice. The clash between these two titans promises an epic tale of innovation, strategy, and determination. The scenarios, with their twists and turns, reveal that both heroes have their moments to shine. Ultimately, the blend of their strengths, weaknesses, and unique approaches makes them truly iconic and beloved superheroes. Who would win if Iron Man and Batman engaged in a battle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section.